Hey everybody, I am live on Facebook. It's Heather the Painter here. I thought while my little one that has now turned into a vampire and she's getting a very late nap, I thought I would pop on here and try to do a really quick test, seeing if my Speedy Scrubbers background brushes will work on my laptop with this live stream setup, because my old dinosaur computer does not like my live stream setup. So I figured I would go live and run a test. So let's get on here in Corel Painter. And before we get started with anything, I'm going to give a big shout out to Vicky McCarty for getting me totally hooked on lip sense. This amazing stuff right here. And I'm going to put on my fancy festive silver glitter gloss because during Christmas, who doesn't want to be wearing glitter? I like wearing glitter all the time, but now that it's expected around the holiday season, it just makes me feel more artsy. So got my gloss on. So shout out to Vicky McCarty. Thank you so much for this stuff. This is not a sponsored video, but you know, lip sense people, if you want to hit me up with free stuff, I love it. So hit up Vicky McCarty if you would like to try out her amazing lip wear product. I'm wearing, I think I'm wearing Fire and Ice today. And I'm wearing some of their silver shadow on my eyes. But anyway, let's get to painting. I'm going to be using my Speedy Scrubbers background brushes in Corel Painter. And let me share my screen. So I should be in Painter 18 right now. And I'm going to make a blank document. So let's open up. I'm going to do something fairly small. Let's do just an 8x8, keep it really simple. Now, one of the little tricks for creating backgrounds is starting off on a grounded colored base instead of starting with like a bright white base. It just makes it a little bit easier to mix your colors, get something a little bit more fun. Either starting with something kind of like a warm neutral tone or just a nice light gray. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to pick out a color and just pick like a, 20% gray. Maybe warm it up just a hair. Boom. And you can always do this by just opening a white document and then taking your paint can and filling your canvas. I'm not worrying about my paper right now. And we're going to click OK. So just an 8x8 at 300 pixels. And it's automatically gone full screen. Now I've got my Speedy Scrubbers brushes, and my zoom is actually covering the top part here. Let me see if I can get this to go away. Bear with me. New software. Here we go. Okay, so hopefully it's not covering up the screen that you see, but I'm using my new Speedy Scrubbers background brushes that are compatible with Corel Painter 2017. And then I actually rebuilt them / reoptimized them for Corel Painter 2018. And let me check on my little one, make sure she is actually sleeping. She decided to stay up all last night. She was giggly, but she stayed up all night. So I'm in Painter 2018. I am using the Wacom Intuos Pro medium tablet with the additional art pen. The art pen is not necessary, but it does give you a little bit of that barrel rotation. So as you swivel your pen, your brushes start flicking, but you get a little bit of a thicker nib, thicker neck here. So if you have anything with like arthritis or your hands get really sore, that little bit of a thickness does make a difference in the neck. But really, people use the art pen for the barrel rotation or the swivel rotate sensitivity that is built into a lot of these brushes. If you do not have the art pen, you're perfectly fine using whatever pen comes with your pressure sensitive stylus. So let's talk a little bit about these brushes. I'm going to pull out, let's check our paper texture really quickly. Make sure that you're on something with a weave, a nice contrast. So under your tool palette, I'm going to make sure that I'm on Artist Canvas. That is my favorite one. It pulls up a little bit of that weave like in Canvas. And now let's look at some of these brushes. So under the background brushes, these are ones that I have built. They took me, I think I started working on them essentially over a few years. I've pulled out some and then scrapped them and rebuilt them, but I've really been working on these since about June or July, and I'm pretty thrilled with them. My absolute favorite that came from this is what's called the Quick Impressionist color brush. This is called the Quick brush. So the Quick Impressionist color, let me hit reset so it comes out exactly how it would for you. Let's make something really festive. Let's do like oranges and brasses. So I'm taking a very dark color. This Quick Impressionist color brush, or the QIC brush, I'm just going to call it the Quick brush, lays down variations of color. And you'll notice we only picked one color on our color wheel, but it automatically varies the color that you put down, and I'm just scrubbing. So this is one brush mark, but it's automatically scattering your brushwork. So this is gorgeous for background building. I used this when I was building the Grayish and the Moody background set, or I should say a variation of this brush. But you could just use this one brush for your backgrounds, and you can see it's almost like this greasy, scattered, impressionistic, thick oil brush. And I love it. I love this brush. I can't live without this when it comes to background spaces. And FYI, this is a really pretty cloner brush. So if you are doing Impressionism, even in your portraits, try it as a cloner brush. It's really cool. So this is one color, and it's automatically varying the degree of color values, or the colors that it's putting out. Now, as I get towards the center, you know, I'm going to put this, say I drop this in behind a portrait. I want to concentrate the light typically around, you know, the neck, around the ear of the person. So we're going to generally put your hot spots kind of towards the center. I don't want it perfectly in the center because I don't want it to look like a bullseye effect. But we're going to manually push that color a little bit brighter and just lightly come in. Let's go a little bit lighter with the same brush as we come in towards that center. And I'm just using one brush. Love this brush. Let's warm it up, get it a little bit more brassy by pushing that color wheel. If you all are asking questions, I do not see you because I've got my baby monitor on the phone. So let me pop over there and make sure that I'm not missing any questions. And hopefully my little one does not wake up. My little happy, giggly vampire baby. And I'm just lightly bronzing it up. Hopefully you're not going to get an echo here. Oh, we're getting an echo. Hold on. Bear with me. So I'm reserving my very lightest values for the center. And I think I missed a question. Let's see. All right, there we go. Nope, not missing questions. So, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to ask questions. I am checking it periodically, but primarily I'm just keeping an eye on the baby. So I'm reserving my lightest tones for the center of the painting, or I should say center. It's kind of cockeyed. Because as we zoom out, it looks like I had a background light on that background, and it just, you know, concentrates there and then lightly falls off, which is, it looks very natural if you're dropping that in behind a subject. So I've got some really nice texture. I'm leaving some of it broken, some of it scattered. It makes for a very interesting, gives it kind of that pseudo depth. But I need to do a little bit of refinement. So that was just with one brush. That was the Quick Impressionist color brush, the Quick brush, QIC for short. Now, this set has two more brushes of that. There is a Quick blender and a Quick scrubber. So let me show you the difference between both of them. Let's start with the scrubber. Oh, I thought I heard my little girl. So I've got Quick Scrubber. Let me turn her back up. You might hear her white noise machine in the background. Okay, so the Quick Scrubber, let me hit reset so it looks exactly like it does on your computer if you're working in 18. Now the scrubber literally takes your paint, adds a little grease to it, and kind of drags and grips. It's not a soft, feathered, tappy, blendy. It is a scrub, greasy, choppy scrubber. So this gives a very different effect than the quick blender. But if you start using the three together in your background painting, they're so pretty. Now this brush takes a little bit of memory. Whoops, I zoomed in. So you can see it's just adding almost like a little bit of grease and pulling it and dragging my paint, but it's like skipping slightly. It's not taking this long aggressive streak. It's just skipping. So I love, love, love the effect of these. I really rely on this trio of brushes. If I had to pick favorites, you know, Mama does not have favorites. Mama does not have favorites with brushes, but we all know that is not true. This trio is probably my favorite in the set. So that's the scrubber. It's got the skippy, short, little greasy scrub skip. The blender will actually take that same shape and start feathering and blending and kind of pulling it. It's not as much of a scrubby motion as it is a blend. So here we go. But it's also doing that scattered brush leafy goodness. So we're getting a completely different look here. But the three of them together complement each other, polish off each other. They work so beautifully when you're doing background pieces. And when I say background, I mean open spaces. It can be a sky. It could be trees, like large groups of trees. You could even use this for leaves in a scenic or foliage. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Oh, smaller. Too small. Work with me. Come on. I know. Here we go. My Wacom is being a little high maintenance today. I think it hit the eggnog a little too hard. That's okay. All right. I think it just got excited at hearing Mama call it one of her favorites. I love you, I love you, I love you. Watch the other brushes get angry at me now. Ooh. So let's take a look at that. That's a pretty cool background for just taking three brushes and really quickly scrubbing it in, in just a couple of minutes. So I am going to save this. Let's do a file, save as. And I'm going to name this red. Let's call it burnt red. Burnt red background 1. And I want to be able to open and edit this in Photoshop because I do my portrait editing in there. So if you're using Adobe products, listen up. You need to save this as an uncompressed Photoshop file. I'm not touching anything else. Hit save. If you save it as a RIF file, which is Corel's native format, you will not be able to open it up in Adobe. So I am pretty darn happy with that. You could change this into a really dramatic black and white. You can take it through selective color in Photoshop and tweak your values. You could tweak your color families, but it just makes a really interesting, very, very quick background. And we've got these unique textures. It's not matchy-matchy across the space. So a few key hints here is you want to lay down your color first, keep your darks on the edges, unless it's a high key, and then keep your lighter values kind of building up towards the center. and then go ahead and go in with your blenders. But if you start out with a little color and a little blending and a little color and a little blending, you're going to get a really ghostly, kind of semi-boring blah background. You really need to get bold with your color first and put down a lot of color and block it in. We call it blocking it in organically. Then go in with your blenders and then do a little color and a little blending. But get your colors in, rough it in where you want them first, and save along the way. So let me make sure I'm not missing any questions. If you've got questions, now is the time to ask them. Sorry, you might have a little bit of sound there. And yes, I'm in Corel Painter 18. I don't think I've missed any questions. So I hope you've enjoyed that really quick little bit. I am in Corel Painter 18, and these were the Speedy Scrubbers Background brush pack that I've built. If you are interested in them, they are at heatherthepainterstore.com, and I'm going to put a link in with this video when it posts on my Facebook page, and I'll probably put it on my YouTube channel. Check me out at YouTube at Heather the Painter. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful holidays, and a very creative, breakthrough-filled new year with your loved ones and a lot of paint. So, bye, guys. Thank you so much.